friends, welcome to Newfangled Desserts. This week I was asked if I would be willing to provide some treats for healthcare workers who are working overtime during our COVID-19 pandemic, and of course I was happy to oblige. The question was, what kind of cookies would I like to make for them? I mean, we all have our favorites. We like our chocolate chip, we like our oatmeal chocolate chip, we like our oatmeal raisin. We also like our snickerdoodle. Well, fortunately for me, Shauna Sever has come to the rescue. And again, this week I am baking from her book, Midwest Made, in which she has a recipe called After School Specials, which are truly emblematic of all of our childhood favorites or our adult favorites that we like to keep in our cookie jar. These cookies are a wonderful blend of a chocolate chip cookie, an oatmeal cookie, and a snickerdoodle, all in one. Sound pretty good? Well, let me show you how to make them. Start by creaming your butter in your mixer for about 1 minute until creamy. Add your granulated sugar and brown sugar and continue to cream together for 3 to 4 minutes. While your butter and sugars are creaming, mix together your dry ingredients, your flour, oats, flaky salt and granulated salt, baking soda, and cream of tartar. Mix these all together with a whisk. It looks like I'm going to need a bigger bowl. Yeah, now that is more like it. Use a whisk to whisk these all nicely together. And then set aside. Make sure you stop your mixer periodically and scrape down the butter and sugar as it's creaming. This will ensure that all of these ingredients are nicely incorporating and that you're evenly distributing some of the air that you are whipping into your batter into those ingredients. Keep mixing. Don't forget your vanilla extract. And 3 eggs that have been brought to room temperature. I'm going to add these separately, one at a time, beating them in, and not adding the next one until the first one has pretty well disappeared into the batter. You can turn your mixer up a little bit between each egg just to make sure that it gets blended into the batter very nicely. And in goes the last one. Whoop. All right, this cookie dough is looking great. It's nice and light. I can feel that as I scrape down my bowl one last time here before I add my dry ingredients. Make sure that you check your beater as well, because sometimes some unincorporated or creamed butter or sugar can stick to the beater, and you don't want that in your cookies. Now I have this nicely scraped down, so I'm just going to turn my mixer on low and then take my big bowl of dry ingredients, and on low speed I'm going to gradually add the oat and flour mixture and give it a little bit of time to blend in so you don't end up splashing the flour all over yourself or all over your counter. And just take your time adding this in until it is all blended. Now, if your mixer starts to protest a little bit, you might want to hold off and add the remaining dry ingredients by hand with a spatula. All right, so I have all of my dry ingredients mixed in here. And as you can see, I grabbed a larger spatula because it got quite tough for me to do that. Now, don't forget the most important ingredient, your chocolate chips. I use Ghirardelli 60% bittersweet chocolate chips pretty much in a lot of my baking. I really like them because they lend a really nice, deep, dark chocolate flavor. And they don't contain a lot of fillers as some chocolate chips on the market do. They really seem like they are pure chocolate, so I highly, highly recommend them. So stir your chocolate chips right into your batter. This is getting a little tough here, so I'm going to take a break here before I show you how I'm going to scoop these out. Now, this recipe says to chill the dough overnight or for a few hours in your refrigerator, just so that all of the flour can become a little hydrated with the butter and the sugars and everything else and the eggs that is blended in there. And that is a really, really important step so that your cookies will maintain a really nice shape as they bake up in the oven. So I would highly suggest you do not skip the step where it says you chill these overnight. What I like to do, rather than placing my entire bowl in the refrigerator, which you can certainly do, I like to go ahead and pre-scoop my cookies. So I'm going to use a 2 tablespoonish size scoop, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scoop this right out onto a parchment-lined rimmed baking sheet. Now, the reason it looks like I have so much cookie dough here is because I'm making a lot for the health workers. So I made this recipe times 1.5. You certainly, if you're just going to make a regular batch, you're not going to have this much in your bowl. But what's really nice is this is one of those recipes that certainly lends very well to doubling or doing times 1.5. So I'm going to continue with scooping out the rest of these, and then I'm going to put some plastic wrap over the top of them and put them in my refrigerator overnight before baking them off. All right, my cookies have chilled overnight in the refrigerator, and now we are getting ready to bake them. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then to make these cookies more like a snickerdoodle, you're going to pick up one of the balls of dough, and you'll notice that I kind of rolled these a little bit before I put them in the refrigerator, which is an extra step that you might want to do. And then you can either let these sit out for maybe about 15 minutes to a half an hour so that they get a little bit warm to the touch and are not quite as cold, or I have a bowl of just some warm water here that I'm going to get my hands a little bit wet as I take this ball of dough and roll it in the cinnamon sugar mix that I have here. So this is what makes it kind of like a snickerdoodle. And the reason I'm doing that, and it's rather hard to see, is that you can notice that the cinnamon sugar, the sugar granules themselves are adhering to the cookie better this way with a little bit of moisture on them. This first one that I rolled out doesn't have as much sugar on it. So just a little tip. So you can guarantee you're going to get more cinnamon sugar on it than just cinnamon. If you just roll the cold ball of dough in your cinnamon sugar, you're just going to get cinnamon on it. So either leave them room temp or just wet your hands a little bit before you roll each ball in the cinnamon sugar. So I'm going to continue with doing this and then pop these into the oven. Okay, as you can see, I have my first batch all ready to go into the oven. I'm going to bake these for 12 minutes, rotating the sheet about halfway through the baking time. I only put 9 cookies on this baking sheet as I did scoop them rather large. So we're going to start with that. If they don't spread too much, I can perhaps fit 12 on the sheet, but we're going to start with 9 for now. So into the oven, 350 for 12 minutes. All right, here are my after-school special cookies. Fresh out of the oven. They look beautiful. I think I did right by just making 9 of them on a sheet at a time. So I'm going to let these cool for 5 minutes before I transfer them to a cooling rack to cool completely. And I'm going to continue with the rest of my cookies. Well, here we are. Our after-school specials are all made and they're still nice and warm and fragrant from the oven. I cannot wait to try one. These are from Midwest Made by Shauna Sever. Make sure you pick up your own copy today. I have provided a link in the description below. Also, if you like my baking videos, please click subscribe so that you can stay up to date on the newest ones I post. And with all of that said, I think I'm going to try one of these. So good. Nice and crunchy on the outside. with lots of cinnamon sugar, reminds you of a snickerdoodle, and of course then you get that nice ooey gooey chocolate. Oh, so good. Make these today. You're going to love them. Until next time, happy baking.